welcome back to another reading vlog. So the other day I finished the Dark Artifices trilogy by Cassandra Clare, and now I'm in the mood to just kind of mood read. It took me like a month to read those 3 books. They were very big books, and though I enjoyed them very much, I definitely am in the mood for just some standalone novels and maybe some graphic novels, just kind of whatever I feel like reading. So I know that sounds a bit chaotic, but sometimes you just need to go with the flow. I also definitely want to pick up something on my Kobo because my boyfriend just recently got me this like arm, so you can clip it onto like your headboard or the arm of a chair or whatever and put your e-reader in here, and it holds it for you so you don't have to hold it, so you can lay down or eat snacks while you read a book, which is amazing. And then he also got me a remote control page turner, so you literally can just hold the remote and clip this to your Kobo or e-reader. It says it's even compatible with iPads and phones if you like to read ebooks with that. He got these for me a couple weeks ago, but since I was reading such big physical books that I did not want to put down, I haven't got to using it yet, so I definitely want to do that probably in the next couple of days. And then I also got a little knockoff GoPro camera that I'm hoping to attach to my bike and my kayak and different things that I use outdoors. Super excited about that. I'm actually going to try to use it today and kind of fiddle around with it on my bike and see if I can get it to work, and then eventually kind of play with the angles and what is the most comfortable way to use it. I love editing footage from hikes that I go on into my reading vlogs, so I feel like it's going to be amazing to also be able to include some of my biking and kayaking and God knows whatever else I get myself into. But back to reading, I honestly am kind of in the mood for like a manga or something right now. I'm not entirely sure what, so I think I'm going to peruse my bookshelves for a little bit, and I'm also going to pick out a book on my Kobo to read. Hopefully I'm also going to get to listen to an audiobook in this reading vlog. I haven't listened to an audiobook since February and it is now April. I'm going to take a few moments and just kind of peruse my bookcases, and then I will be right back. So I have a lot of books on my Kobo, and I have forgotten that I even had like probably 50% of them. But this is one I bought a while ago, and I completely forgot that I even bought it. I'm kind of in the mood for like a standalone romance right now, and in December I read In a Holidays by Christina Lauren, and I definitely want to read more by them, and so I think I'm going to read Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren. I have no idea what it's about, only that it's romance, but it seems short, it seems like it's probably going to be cute. And then I also decided I'm going to pick up a poetry collection because I haven't actually picked up a poetry collection for well over a month now. So I'm going to pick up I Saw You as a Flower by Ellen Everett. This is giving spring vibes, and it is split into 3 parts. It says there's a time for everything. So part 1 is a time to wither, part 2 is a time to grow, and part 3 is a time to blossom. I was kind of skimming through it when I was deciding what poetry collection I wanted to pick up, and some of the poems in it are absolutely beautiful, so it seems like a solid choice for me at the moment. And then I am definitely in the mood for like a manga or a graphic novel, and I decided I want to do a reread because this one is absolutely precious and I love it so much. It is very short and simple, but also very impactful and meaningful, and that is Everyone's an Alien When You're an Alien Too by Jomni Sun. This one is just precious. If you have never read it, I highly recommend it. The illustrations itself are very simple, but they're absolutely precious and they have such deep meaning behind them. It's very thought-provoking and also very calming to me. It's about a little alien that comes to Earth and meets all of these different creatures and beings. They're all just trying to get through life. Some of them are misjudged, and this little alien is just trying to kind of understand Earth and the beings on Earth as well as himself. And I love it so much, so I'm definitely feeling this vibe right now. Those are the 3 I'm going to pick out for myself right now, and maybe when I finish them I'm going to pick up others as the week goes on. So I will talk to you again once I have started reading one of these. last night I ended up finishing Everyone's an Alien When You're an Alien Too by Johnny Sun, and I loved it just as much as the first time that I read it. It is so meaningful and so impactful for such a simple graphic novel, and I feel like everyone could get something from this book. Honestly, one of my favorite graphic novels ever that I've ever read, and it gave me all of the warm and cozy vibes that I was looking for, so I'm really happy that I read this, and safe to say it is a solid 5-star read.
Yes, it's safe to say that.
And I'm also now on page 58 of 200 in I Saw You as a Flower by Ellen Everett. I must say, like, I do like the poetry that I've read so far, but the first section of it is kind of about like breakups and the feelings that come with that, which personally at this moment in my life, I thankfully cannot really relate to. So I can appreciate it, but it doesn't have a deep, impactful meaning at my present moment in life. I guess the first part would be very good for someone who maybe is going through something like that. So far, it's pretty good. It's like kind of teetering between 3 and 4 stars for me, but I'm really looking forward to the next 2 parts because they seem more about growing and kind of moving on. I have not yet started Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating by Christina Lauren. I'm going to try to set this up and start, and then I'm probably also going to read a little bit more poetry tonight before I go to bed. Yesterday, I finished I Saw You as a Flower by Ellen Everett, and as I suspected, I did really prefer the second and third parts to the first one. I just related to those parts a lot more personally, but it definitely was not the most unique poetry I've ever read. I think this one for me is a solid 3 stars, still pretty good, and I can definitely see myself revisiting it in the future. There were a few poems that I did really love and that really spoke to me, and I'll definitely be thinking about those ones. I will say also I love all of the nature vibes that this one has. I love poetry about nature, so if you love that too and you like nature relating to real life, I recommend this one for sure. I am now also 56% of the way into Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating, and this one, although is fun and is kind of making me laugh because of the banter between the 2 love interests, is definitely not my favorite romance that I've read so far. I'm definitely finding that the main character is kind of giving me the pick-me-girl vibes, which is definitely not my favorite. I don't know if that's anyone's favorite, but it's definitely giving me that vibe. And then I have noticed some potential foreshadowing as to what might happen between these characters. I'm not going to spoil it, but if what happens that I think is going to happen, if that made sense, I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about that. And I don't know how the characters are going to feel about that, but I definitely have a feeling it's going to go in a direction that I am a little nervous about, and I'm not sure it could really make or break this book. I do really like the male main character in this, and it's also interesting this is written from a dual perspective, so the chapters alternate between who's narrating. Hazel narrates one and then Josh narrates the next one, and then it just goes back and forth between them. So that's definitely different for solely a romance novel. I don't think I've ever read a romance novel that's written like that. I've read like fantasy like that. That's very popular in the fantasy books I find, but less so in romance. And then going with my whole mood reading theme, I did say I want to pick up an audiobook, and so I finally picked one out from Libby that I'm going to listen to for the next couple of days while I work on a puzzle and maybe like walk on my treadmill a bit and stuff. And that is How Y'all Doing by Leslie Jordan. I love Leslie Jordan so much. He was amazing in the show Call Me Kat, and he was such a funny person, super enthusiastic and optimistic, and I absolutely love his comedy, and he narrates this audiobook, so I think it's going to be a really fun time and I cannot wait to listen to it. And then I went back and forth between whether I wanted to read another graphic novel or whether I wanted to pick up more poetry, but then I saw this on my shelf. It was sitting on my shelf like this, and I couldn't tell what it was, so I picked it up, and this is kind of going in the theme of nature poetry. It is called Field Guide to the Haunted Forest by Jared K. Anderson. It is an independently published collection of poetry that's giving spooky nature vibes that I'm really excited about. I read a few lines from a few poems while I was trying to decide if this was something that I wanted to pick up right now, and I am so excited just by those few lines that I read. I feel like this is going to be really good and right up my alley. Spooky nature is the vibe. So I'm thinking I'm going to sit here for a few minutes and just kind of start that poetry collection just because I'm so excited about it, and then I'll probably head down to bed and continue reading Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating because I kind of just feel like sitting in the dark and reading on my Kobo right now. But first I am going to start Field Guide to the Haunted Forest. So I love the poem I just read on page 5. This one is called Home Safety Tip. If you are awoken by a strange sound, make a stranger sound. If there's no response, congratulations. You are the monster now. Get out of bed. You don't need to sleep anymore. Now, all you need are the shadows and the endless whispers of dark corners. I just had to share that with you. Wow. Last night I finished Josh and Hazel's Guide to Not Dating. It did actually end up going in the direction that I was afraid of it going. I thought that it was going to negatively impact my feelings toward this book, but to me, I actually was kind of relieved with how it turned out. That's all I'll say. I was reading reviews though, and I know some people really liked the way it ended. Some people really hated it, so I think it's all personal preference, but I didn't mind it. It wasn't my favorite book, but I think in the end to me, it was actually more like a 4-star book, which is actually quite good. I wasn't expecting it to end it in 4 stars, but I did really like the male main character in it, and the spice scenes overall were also very well written. That is something I will say too. This is a pretty spicy romance, not the spiciest, but if you're not into that, I would probably recommend skipping this one. It's super lighthearted, definitely more of like a fun read. I am also now 31% of the way through Leslie Jordan's book How Y'all Doing, and I'm really loving this so far. One of the things he's talked about quite a bit is different experiences he's had as an actor. I did not realize he's in American Horror Story, and I guess he's in multiple seasons. I have never seen American Horror Story, but it's always been something I've been interested in watching. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. It's definitely not something I expected him to be in, but I bet he's great in it, so I'm definitely going to be watching that soon. Tonight, I'm probably going to do my puzzle and maybe finish that one and then read some more poetry. Today, my boyfriend and I I went on a hike on a trail through a forest that led to a waterfall at the end of it, and it was absolutely beautiful, but I must say I am kind of tired right now. So it'll be nice to kind of just now cozy up on my couch and pop my earbuds in and listen to this and do a puzzle. Last night while I was doing my puzzle, I ended up finishing How Y'all Doin' by Leslie Jordan. I have to say I absolutely loved it. It was a very lighthearted memoir, and Leslie Jordan is amazing at telling stories and making people laugh. It was really nice to hear him tell stories. I love his voice too. He was just such a funny, happy man, and it was so nice to be able to listen to that one. I don't rate memoirs, but I will say if you like Leslie Jordan, you will definitely love this memoir. It was so funny and a really great time. Once I finished it, I still wanted to listen to an audiobook while I did my puzzle, so I ended up checking out What I Know for Sure by Oprah Winfrey on Libby. I love Oprah's voice so much. I find it super calming, and I also love the way she tells stories and talks about her past and is really good at putting things into words. So when I saw this one was available, I checked it out instantly because I have yet to be disappointed by a book by Oprah Winfrey. So I am now 20% of the way through that one and I'm loving it so far. Basically, this book is Oprah reading columns from her magazine, O Magazine, and it was a column she had in every magazine called What I Know for Sure. And so she's going back through and reading them and sometimes adding a little bit to it. It's definitely very interesting, and it's also a very short audiobook. I think it's only 4 hours long, but I am really enjoying it so far. I just got home from work and I am very tired and just feel like relaxing, so I'm actually going to go and take a bath and listen to What I Know for Sure. I just finished What I Know for Sure by Oprah Winfrey while I was just doing some cleaning around my house. Once again, I don't rate memoirs, but I really enjoyed this one. There was definitely a lot of inspiring quotes in it, and I highly recommend it if you want to maybe read about being more calm and just enjoying the everyday things and stuff like that. And then yesterday, I also finished Field Guide to the Haunted Forest by Jared K. Anderson, and this was a 5-star poetry collection to me. I love all things spooky, and I also love nature a lot, and so this honestly felt like it was written for me. Some of them were so good I had to read them twice. So I really loved this collection of poetry, and if you too enjoy spooky stuff and nature, I also highly recommend this for you because it gave all of those vibes. But anyway, I think I'm going to leave this vlog here. I had such a good time mood reading, and I'm definitely going to be doing it again in the near future. It just feels so good to kind of pick whatever you're in the mood for at that very moment and go with the flow. But with that, I hope you have a great rest of your week and happy reading.